What's the purpose of all these debates? Is to better inform the American people about national and international affairs of importance.
When our security people used to come and tell me, look, we're making progress, we have killed, arrested so many, my question was always, are there still young people joining the rebellion or not? The day you tell me there are no more young people joining them, I'll consider that the problem has been solved. This is one. The second thing I used to tell them is, you know, you tell me how horrible these people are. But please, let's all remember, these are our kids. They went to school with my children.
Let me just say, I fully agree that the long-term issue here has to be multilateralism. The problem is Americans don't like the term multilateralism. It has too many syllables and ends in an ism. But
although Americans do like using the United Nations.
They do, and that's why I think one needs to talk about it as really, the United Nations, which I am a great believer in, is in many ways a force multiplier.
Do you plant the seeds with a bayonet or with a plow? And that may be the discussion that we ought to have here tonight.
Having been in Afghanistan in the very beginning and seeing that we needed more and more troops, we needed more and more resources in there, to have them diverted to Iraq, to me, made no sense at all.
And it seems to me we've got to get on the right side of the curve of change in most of the Arab world. We're perceived, you know, as a very reactionary polity, United States.
If we can't get the rest of the world to help us in Iraq, then our options are severely limited. So we have to be part of the world, and we have to build alliances, and that means we have to respect the views and attitudes of other nations.
I'm convinced the president's strategy is right. You might not agree with all the tactics, but his strategy is right, and that's to do whatever it takes in the short run to disrupt these terrorist organizations.
It doesn't have to be the American process, and it shouldn't be. Trying to make the Middle East Hollywood is not going to work.
We can disagree about the war. We can disagree about how it's being fought. We can disagree about who wants to vote for which president. But we surely cannot disagree about the fact that the world is a better place without Saddam Hussein.
I remember one Iraqi woman saying to me, she says, Dan, she says, I understand that the American military needs to be here. We want them here. I just don't want to trip all over them when I'm walking my daughter to school.
You've got to decide where you're going to take your hits. And if you're going to do regime change, then you've got to administer an empire. And if we're going to do that, then we have to be prepared for it, and the public has to be prepared.
The United States is there to take care of us. If we are worried about what old Europe thinks about us, we will simply succumb. We are the last best hope of the world, and like it or not, folks, that the world recognizes.
And if you look around the world, the kind of moral authority that the United States had unquestionably after World War II and even up into recent years has been sadly waning.
It's been our tradition in these forums to begin each question and answer session with a student from the National Forensic Student League. And our student tonight is Chris Gang, who's a senior at Manchester Essex Regional High School. Chris, go for it.
First, I'd like to thank the UN Foundation for holding this series of discussions as a means of listening to the people's concerns. I hope to steer the topic away from Iraq, if only for a few moments.
You can try too.
Which brings me to my question. How do you perceive the effect that current United States plans for a missile defense system will have on our relationship with the United Nations? And what may be the implications of completing or abandoning this plan?
Are there any ongoing constructive negotiations currently underway between the United States and Iran and Saudi Arabia over Iraq's future?
What is the globalization doing? What criteria we are using to maintain the justice of environment and justice of poor people?
Why is it that this administration of George W. do not want to talk with North Korea about dismantling their mass weapons, when Gaddafi have already done so, and some of those weapons is right here in the state of Tennessee? And why are they pulling the troops out of South Korea?
Do you think it's possible to train an indigenous Iraqi force to kill its own people in order to ensure security in Iraq?
It is possible to have an indigenous Iraqi force that identifies Iraq as a nation,
that is prepared to support a generally representative government working its way toward a genuine democracy. It is totally possible.
The thing that I think this kind of setting helps with, people can come here and listen. People who came here tonight, again, we're not coming to support a candidate. He's my guy. And I'm not going to listen to the other guy. They came to listen to the arguments and discussion.
I was glad to be part of a panel that was balanced, that wasn't unwilling to speak his or her mind, and I think we had some good exchanges, and frankly, I learned a lot.
I'm very happy that the ThePeopleSpeak chose to put energy on the radar in trying to have a conversation with people around the country.
The ThePeopleSpeak offers a wonderful opportunity for people all over the country to think about some of the toughest issues facing America today. They're issues that people need to debate, they need to talk about, they need to think about what the government's doing, what it might mean for them, and what it might mean for this country. It's a debate that too seldom takes place.
I think it's a wonderful forum because it gives average people out there a chance to really participate in an intelligent, in-depth discussion of America's role in the world.